Sorry about the short interruption there. Lily was getting a little anxious, as you probably noticed, and wanted to be free. So she's off running around a little, having fun right now. All right, so back to what we were talking about. Please don't stop listening to this. We're going to get to the end of it real soon. We're going to need to look at backup solutions that if you don't have a backup solution, we're going to have to put one in place. It's got to be good. If you've got a backup solution, even if it's one that I have recommended and previously installed for you, we're going to have to look at something that augments that. That's going to be a bit different. We'll still keep the one you have. It is super valuable. We can restore your computer very fast with the backups that we have installed for you. The kind of backup we need now, in addition to whatever you might be using right now, is one where we keep your files very purposely, put them up into the cloud. Now, the cloud, for some people, they wonder what that is. Just think of it as the internet for now, okay? It's just the easiest thing to do. It's not exactly that. There's a little bit more to it. But for our purposes, when I say cloud, the internet. So we need to get our files up into the cloud and backed up. There's a ton of media on doing stuff in the cloud, blah, blah, blah. I need to caution you. If you think that you're using Dropbox and that's going to be your backup solution because it's in the cloud in a sense, or there's an awful lot of different file sharing solutions, sadly, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to help. There have been many, many people who have been using file sharing software and then gotten bit by this malware, and the malware, because it's designed to go and find any files it can on your computer, and the way these file sharing services, many of them are set up, the malware is able to see the files that are in Dropbox or the other file sharing locations. And guess what? It encrypts them also. So you go and access your file off of the sharing service thinking, maybe it's going to be fine. Sorry. Nope. It got encrypted as well. There's no going back from this. Once this happens, it's basically done. So the kind of backup we're looking for is going to be a very specialized in the cloud backup. Specialized doesn't necessarily mean a lot of money, but it is going to be an increased cost. There's no way around it. There are some backup solutions that are around $5 a month, maybe a little less. I do not recommend a lot of those. I do not. There are problems. There are issues. There are limitations. You need to do your homework. There's easily 20 or more different possible backup solutions. A lot of them have some good things behind them. They really do. Some of them you're very familiar with hearing about. Carbonite, Mozy. I could list some others, I suppose. I would say wait until you hear from us as to what we recommend. The ones that you may be thinking about right now are not ones that I would recommend. And here's the reason why. Many of these backup services will keep older versions of your files for you, but you have very little control over which versions are kept or how many of them are kept or for how long they're kept. And this can be a very big problem when we have someone who's going to destroy all the files on your computer and make it so that you can never get them back. Once they make a change to your file, the backup software has no idea as to whether it was you that changed the file or it was malware that changed the file. And it will dutifully back up your file up to the cloud. Now, imagine this, and this has happened to people. They've gone ahead and they're using an inexpensive service that they haven't really done the research on, or found someone like Ingalls Computer Services that has done the research on it, and they go and open up one of these files. Maybe it's not even been one that's affected by malware, but somehow there's been a hiccup with the computer and it comes out not looking right, not working right. This has happened to real people. I know them. They've come to me crying for help. It's too late. You need to come to me soon and beforehand, and we need to put the solutions in place beforehand. If we open up your file and it's damaged or corrupted, and then we go to save it, Windows very commonly will register that as a small change in your file. If you happen to have done anything with that file while it was open and you close it and Windows detects it's a change, all of these events are things that can cause the backup software to make yet another backup copy. Now, bear with me for a second. I know this is long, but if the backup service you're using is only going to keep a limited number of copies, I have seen it where people have, in frustration or great upset, open and closed documents that were very, very valuable to them. We're talking about QuickBooks, Quicken, Microsoft Money, their email, their professional contacts list, and they can't get over the fact that something's not right. By the time they've opened and closed it that many times, some of the services that they would use have reached the limit of the number of backup copies it will hold. Every time you put a new one in there, it throws out the old one. And eventually, there's nothing up on the backup service except for bad copies of your files. This is not the way to go. The backup solutions that Ingalls Computer Services are looking into right now give us a lot more control over the copies that are remaining and kept up in the cloud for you. We want copies that we know are good, and we want to be able to get at them. I don't care if they're a week old or a month old. I'd much rather have you and I have access to a document that's super important, that's a few days old, a week old, or even a month old, if we knew that that document was in perfectly good shape and usable versus not having anything. And that's what the choice is. So what's the cost? Well, I had mentioned that there are some solutions around $5 and a little bit under maybe, depending on how you price it and pay. The kind of solution that we're looking at here, it's going to cost you a tiny bit more. I'm going to just play it safe. For residential users, you should be thinking about $10 a month. If I can get that price lower, I will. Believe me. I'm testing, looking at software right now, and my hope is that I'll be able to get it below that price point. But I think that that's the way you need to start to think about how this malware is raising the price of owning a computer. Business users, I'm sorry, but business software and the level of smarts that's put in the business quality software is a bit more. And thus they are able to charge a bit of a premium for it. It's in their license. There's no way around it. We would be against the law to be using a home-based backup solution when clearly it says you will not do so. And if you need support and you're calling up as a business trying to recover your business files, you're out of luck. So the cost, what I'm looking at right now for business, I think we've got to start to budget the idea of $15 a month. Now, I hope that gets a lot lower. The closer I can get it to 10, the better. But right now, I think you need to start considering that that's what this malware is effectively doing for everyone. Now you can say, I don't want to do backup. I can't afford it. Is that really true? I mean, really, if all of your files were taken away from you, they're gone, and you could never get them back, is that a good alternative? I mean, it's like taking your laptop and putting it in a crusher. You're never going to get that stuff back. I know, this sucks, no matter how you look at it. The good news is that some of you may not actually really have a good backup solution for doing off-site backup or disaster recovery. This is going to be able to round out your whole solution, and that's a good thing. Hopefully you won't get burned by this malware. Even if you do, and we do put in this additional backup service, it's still going to be a pain. People's computers need to be cleaned up. The data that's no longer any good needs to be removed so that the new data that is good can come back onto the computer. Some people's computers need to be totally rebuilt from installing the software from scratch. These are crooks. They're criminals. They're making a ton of money off of this, and there's no stopping them. As of right now, it's here to stay. It's been here for a while, and it's only going to get worse. I need to tell you because this is important. I cannot afford to keep this a secret from you. You must know. So there you have it. If you get something that doesn't look right in your email, or you see a pop-up for something that doesn't look right, or software to be updated, don't trust it. And one more thing I need to tell you, some of these pop-ups for the malicious malware software, it doesn't matter where you click, it's going to infect your computer. I mean this to say that it may look like they have a button for yes or no, or update now or update later, and it may have an X in the corner that you can X out. In some of the cases, that whole window is really nothing more than one giant button. It's a piece of artwork that looks like it has these different buttons and options. But no matter where you click on it, it will, within a minute, start to destroy your files. And there's no going back unless you've prepared for it up front. Best thing to do, I would say, is if you're in doubt, call someone. You may have to hire them for a few minutes to come and take a look at your machine, or like we can remote into your machine and look at your screen with you. We'll use tools that let us see what software is actually putting up the pop-up, and we can go from there. If you really want to have peace of mind, make it be a lot more worry-free, then sign up for a plan like ours or someone else's, where we keep your computer up to date, and we're always looking out for things that are bad. It's not 100%, but it's going to be a lot better than just living in fear all the time. This is David Ingalls from Ingalls Computer Services. I hope this has been helpful. I'll talk to you soon.